Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt and I'm here with the beehives. These beehives are owned by a local beekeeper, Beekeeper Ron. He's been kind enough to bring them out to the farm. They're going to help us with pollination and they're going to yield us some honey. So stay tuned, take a look at what we have going on here and we'll take you on a little tour of the beehives. Thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoy our content, hit that like button and hit subscribe. Be notified when you'll have content coming your way. Thanks for watching.
So skunks, if the hive's on the ground, they'll actually paw and scratch the front of the hive enough that it'll cause and this is in the middle of the night, that the guard bees will basically step out onto the porch and they just pluck them off. So this is actually, so that's empty. This box on the bottom is empty. So it's got a screen board.
Yeah, on the very bottom.
And you can see where I basically colored it with charcoal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, but that's to mimic a lightning struck, rotted tree interior.
Oh wow.
I kind of made that up. A lot of people will use a butane torch and actually scorch the inside.
Yeah.
But I did it this way. I don't know.
Charcoal sounds good. Yeah.
Because that's what that's their typical.
Yeah, their preferred habitat.
That they would find is in a big old mature tree that's been struck by lightning and has a rotten cavity in it somewhere.
Yep.
Maybe the squirrels have nested in. All right, and it's got. So that's good to go, and it's got frames in the top.
Awesome.
One, you'll just see. You might come out here and you'll see just one or two bees kind of buzzing around. They might go look at the tree and around the tree and do this, and they're just taking measurements and orienting. Yeah. And they might go in, they might come out. And that's just regular scouting, like curious scouting. Yeah. But then when they start to get serious, you'll come out here and you'll see. I mean, it looks like the average person, like a hive, is like a colony is actually moved in. You might have 10 bees, 20 bees, all hanging around the entrance, crawling around in and out. Yeah. And that's called heavy scouting. Yeah. And that's where there is a hive colony somewhere getting ready to swarm, and they've narrowed it down to a couple sites. Yeah. And sometimes if you see that kind of activity, it could be like that day or the next day that they might swarm. They might choose this box. Yeah. They might choose a different box, but if you see that, let me know. That's cool. Because it means something's pretty imminent one way or another. Yeah. Freshen up the squirt. Make sure my frames are spaced appropriately. So this has, I think like I told you, so it's got one frame of empty old drawn comb, and that smell and that is they can move in, and that queen can immediately, once they start cleaning it out, she can immediately start laying eggs.
Oh, wow.
They don't have to build anything, draw anything.
Yeah.
And the rest are, are empty foundations
Yeah. Yeah.
that they will turn into this. So I've been down through the 4, and what I'm doing is rearranging these top boxes to kind of get ready for the dearth and into winter. Which means, right now, like the nectar flow is kind of shrinking.
Even now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and usually, depending on where you are, what kind of crops there are, they might find some sources, but typically in like July and August, pretty lean times. So what I'm doing, and plus, these are new colonies. So they're drawn out that nice. That's good. So I'm actually adding a frame of cap brood to each hive that I brought from my big hives at the house to give them a little boost in population. So just be careful where you're standing. All right, so I know you've seen enough to know that's capped.
Yeah, that looks
brood,
great.
and I don't know if you can see, and so this is all capped honey on the rim. Can you see in there the larvae?
Oh yeah,
the little
look at
white
that.
grubs.
Yeah.
So that's good. That means that she has moved up, the queen, and is laying in this top box, which is awesome. That is what I wanted to see. Let's do this. And I don't know how.
So they work their way up.
Yeah. If you give them the space, depending on the time of the year, if you give them the space up, they tend to want to chimney up rather than out.
Gotcha.
So usually you wait until they've kind of drawn that bottom box out before you add something on the top. And you're in no kind of suit or veil, so I have no responsibility.
I understand.
And you're standing in front of the entrance. If you have them, they will warn you first, and they'll get around your face, and then you might want to just kind of slowly drift away. And that's only so that's brood. That is going to be brood. So here is.
That looks very busy.
Interesting. So they are going to. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 capped queen cells, which means they are superseding the queen that is in here. They're in the process of that, which is fine, but that is interesting to know.
So will they get rid of the queen that's there, or will she?
Yes. All right. So what I want to do. So that needs to stay where it is. Which means they've decided that the queen, for whatever reason, is either unhealthy or injured or is just not very good, and they take it upon themselves to replace her.
Interesting.
Which you just kind of let nature take its course in most cases.
So where is the majority of their honey stored now? Further below?
Well, in the frames that I gave them on the outsides, typically. But you can see, I mean, that's all that's all nectar filled, which, you know, will become honey once they fill it up and dry it out.
Gotcha.
But remember, these are new colonies, so they didn't have the early spring.
Right.
Really to do all that work. But what I'm trying to do is kind of rearrange some things, help them out, make sure they have the resources that they need. This one's cool. So this was a foundation that they've started. This area here, see, there's drawing that wax out.
Pulling it out.
Which I might go ahead.
So what's the methodology in moving them around? Help them.
You mean the frames?
Yeah, moving around. Yeah.
Well, it's really during the spring when the nectar's really flowing. If you give them empty foundation like that, they will very quickly draw them all out, because they're making wax.
Right.
They've got so much food resource, and they need some place to store all this nectar they're bringing in.
Right.
So now again, this time of year, the nectar flow has greatly diminished. So the idea of trying to get anything drawn out at this time of year
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen unless you're feeding them a lot, which I don't really want to do.
As you can see, we have planted a bunch of wildflowers at the end of our garden. Please excuse the weeds. Got a little out of hand this year. I'm going to try next year to put down some landscaping fabric to help with that. But as you can see, these flowers are helping a tremendous amount of insect populations to get out here that are pollinators. They're out here, butterflies, bees, and they are out here going to town, eating this food, trying to take it back to their hives and their colonies. This time of the year is pretty tough on bees and other pollinating insects, because not a lot of things are blooming this time of year, wildflowers and those types of things, but the heavy duty stuff like the trees and things have already gone through their pollination cycles. So it is tough for pollinators out here to get food. And not only does it provide food for the insects, but it also is beautiful for us. These make great cut flowers. I brought a bunch of them into our house the other day, and they make things beautiful. Most of these are different types of zinnias. There are a few coreopsis that over there that have been, that have come up. But we trying to make sure that we give all of our helpful animal folks plenty of food and plenty of opportunities here.